That's why they think it's strange when we don't run with the same flood of dissipation, right? They don't see us doing the same things that the world does. That's the mark of true Christian holiness. Not because we're trying to be holy, but because we've encountered a holy God, and He is holy through us. Right? And here's one of the biggest problems today in the churches. And how many know we have entered into a post-Christian America, by the way? We are no longer the majority. This was proved this election. I think that was, from George W. Bush and to now, there has been a shift. We have lost now. What I mean by that is, it's just really all that showed was where the nation is as a whole. The majority are not Christian. This is not a Christian nation. It used to be. It's not the nation of the grandparents. It's the nation of our children. And how many know statistically our children, when they grow up to vote or old up, they're only going to be 4% evangelical. Children today, they already looked at by the time they're 18 to 21, only 4% will count for evangelical Christians. Okay, so we're living in a post-Christian society. Why I went there, I have no idea. But the point is that we are a different breed of people. So we don't look like everyone else. And here's the problem when you look at the church, and they're as worldly as the world. What marks us as different? Judgment must begin in the house of God. The fear of the Lord must be reestablished. The gospel of Jesus must be proclaimed. Christ must be exalted. We must take up our crosses and follow Jesus. That means we die to the past. We die to sin. We die to lust. We die to the world. And we follow hard after Jesus. This is what will separate us from the world. And it's going to happen, but it's going to come in not so pleasant ways. Right? But He is trying to clean and separate and shake His church. All that remains will be His, but everything that falls off the wayside was not real and not meant to be. There is a remnant in America, right? So I believe this, that, listen, when in the church, the divorce rate is actually now higher than it is in the world. It used to be 48 to 50, and then it became 50 to 50, and now we're 52% in the church and 50% in the world. So we're like 2 points now above. You know, you see the tilt. It's like once it starts tilting, it's a fast slide downward, right? And that's what's happened. The world is winning the church instead of the church winning the world. We try to be relevant, we try to be hip, we try to be cool, we try to fit in, we try to make everything comfortable, palpable, we try to make it, not so aggressive. We don't want to talk about certain things. So what has happened, next thing you know, there's no difference between us and the world. And when there's no mark, you're marked. You're marked by disobedience and sin. See, that's what happens. And I pray that God raises up a generation that will awaken out of their sleep, awaken out of their slumber, and once again turn to the pure of God. Amen? And that's us. That's why we're here. That's why we're here. To do this. So, let's be self-knowledge in the sinner. I think we covered this, but sinfulness of the sinner is revealed, and with the perception of guilt and the death, there vanishes the enjoyment of life. That's a huge statement. But this is what God was doing to Israel. He showed them their sin. And once sin comes in, the previous enjoyment you had of your sin vanishes. Paul talks about that in Romans 7. You can read that. I just put that in there. Read Romans 7 in its entirety to get the flow of the thought of what Paul's talking about. Basically, he says, I was okay until the law came. And when the law came, I discovered I'm a covenant. And That produced in me death. I died. Because that's, what did you die to? The enjoyment of coveting without any consequences. Oh, I don't want theirs, I just want, mine. Right? I don't want theirs, I just want what they have to be mine, I just want, so there's this enjoyment in it until the law comes and the light shines on it, and all of a sudden now you're awakened to this self-awareness of this sin. That's what happened. The law has enormously increased the responsibility of the people. What's amazing about this too is God, when He enacted the covenant with Abraham, notice He didn't go into any of this stuff with Abraham. He never went to Abraham. He gave the promise, I will be your inheritance. It was very simple, straight line. He didn't go into the complexities of all of this stuff. And we probably are pretty sure that Abraham had a lot of liberties. We know that he did with his many wives and harems and everything else that was going on, and him trying to fulfill these things. So you see all of that, but God wasn't interested in all of these things with Abraham as much as He wanted faith out of Abraham. Now He's tightening up responsibility. Now that faith must be received, works must begin. Now obedience is required. And this is what happens. So the law has enormously increased responsibility, thereby it has set the sinner under the curse. Deuteronomy 27, actually Deuteronomy 28 too, Galatians 3:10. The law worketh wrath. Romans 4:15, the law works wrath in us. Think about that with me. How is that? Well, you hate your brother, you're a murderer, you're guilty, and the wrath of God is now on you. It works wrath. But I didn't kill her, but you hate her. I didn't commit adultery with her, I just looked twice. She lusted after her. It's working the wrath of God. You see, what's amazing with me with Jesus, what He does. And I'll say this because God gives this and then sets the Levitical law around the Ten Commandments and safeguards to keep them. Jesus comes on the scene, reduces the 10 to 2. Love God, love people, right? But then raises the bar. They were barely grasping at it as it was. He takes it completely out of their reach. Some really good Pharisees can jump high enough to at least get their fingertips on it. But Jesus comes and says, no, you're twice as much sons of the devil. That's all you're creating is you're creating twice as much sons of the devil when you're teaching your little students. I'm fixing to raise the bar on the law. It's coming in, and now, listen, you don't even have to commit adultery. You're an adulterer because you love. That's serious business. And yet we have Christians enjoying magic money. I'm probing a little because of people I know. But I'm saying this because the bar of the New Testament's higher, not lower. Grace didn't come and bring the bar down to the ground. Grace raised it so high we could never reach it, but gives us the power to overcome it and jump it.